All right, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, coming off an absolutely massive division victory over the 49ers, this Seattle team is right back in the thick of it in the NFC and the NFC West, of course, as well. But lost in the hustle and bustle of this massive victory was a really smart move the Seahawks leadership made. In fact, it was probably the biggest move that kind of slid under the radar we've seen anyone make this entire season. Great sign for Seattle going forward. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, obviously the Seattle Seahawks, they got the job done 20-17 over the San Francisco 49ers. Geno Smith, great drive there at the end, of course, game-winning touchdown run across the board, great team victory, overcoming some challenges, getting a huge, much-needed division victory. But again, like I mentioned in the opening, lost in the hustle and bustle of this just really close, really exciting victory was a smart move the Seattle Seahawks made, namely addition by subtraction. They moved off, of course, linebacker Tyrell Dodson. They turned to some young guys like Tyrese Knight, asking them to step up. And despite losing a veteran or moving off of a veteran, they did something that I've almost never seen before. They let a veteran player go that a lot of people thought was a solid player, and they actually got better and improved a real weak spot. Let's pull up their tackling grade each week this season. If you want to throw up the graphic there, Miles, on the screen for everyone to see. And you can see right there on the left side, the week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, or no, 10, I'm sorry, bye week, and then 11. And then you got the team they played. On the right, they have their tackling grade according to PFF. You can see there, week 11 against the 49ers in San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan, great players. That's one of the toughest matchups the Seattle Seahawks are going to face all season long. In fact, that was one of their worst games. It was their worst tackling game in week 6. 46.1. They move off of Dodson. They turn to guys like Knight. And what happens? They deliver their best tackling game of the season. This just proves that the decision, a lot of people were questioning it. A lot of people were wondering what the heck is going on here. It turns out the decision to move off of Dodson, waiving him and turning to guys like Knight, the young guy, the young fourth rounder out of UTEP, may have been one of the smartest moves we've seen any team make this entire season. And it means, in my opinion, the future is really bright with the Seattle Seahawks, both in 2024 and beyond. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on all this. But first, Seahawks fans in the comment section below, obviously at this point, massive victory that kind of reset your season. Let us know who your MVP is of this 20-17 victory that happened a few days ago against the 49ers. Geno Smith, of course, is at the top of the list. Maybe it's Tyrese Knight, the guy stepping up. Whoever it is, give us your MVP of this massive Seahawks 49ers victory. Put it in the comment section below. But Mize, what are your thoughts on this decision by Seattle? Just everything with the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is great news for the Seahawks because you look at what this team is doing. They're putting together a really solid defense. Mike McDonald getting back to the basics with these guys, doing what he's done for a long time now. Because you look at a team that I'll say he built in Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens. What are they really, really good at? They're a great tackling team. You see the remnants of that team this year. The number 3 team in the NFL in tackling grade, 71.1 overall grade for them for tackling. You look at what he's trying to do in Seattle, build a team that's good tacklers. Because if you have good tacklers, there's not going to be a lot of miscues, not going to be a lot of broken plays. You have solid tackling players. I think that is a key to a well-balanced defense. Then you sprinkle in some playmakers as well, and you can go from there. But you got to build that foundation first. And I think when you look at guys like Ernst Jones, who has 5 grades over 78, 4 grades over 80 in tackling this year, really fantastic. Is an 82.3 grade overall since he has joined Seattle. Really great player as far as tackling goes. Then we look at Tyrese Knight. In the first 2 games of the season where he played a good amount, 81 and a 78.4 tackling grade. Then this next game again against San Francisco when he's asked to step in, play again, 83.6 tackling grade there as well. So this is a coach who knows what he's doing. Things start to get rocky maybe a little bit in the middle of the season. Seahawks thinking, what do we need to do? How do we get this defense back to basics? What do? You make, like you said, you make the sure thing with tackling. You make a strong foundation, get these guys who can tackle, get to the ball and don't miss, and then you build from there. So I think this is a really good play by the Seattle Seahawks to get this defense up to par, and then they can start sprinkling in those playmakers. Because the offense, like you said, really good. Geno Smith did a lot of heroics there. They made a big-time win against San Francisco 49ers, 10th offense in the NFL right now. but 20th defense, that's not where you want to be, especially as a defensive head coach. He had to make a change, and I think we're seeing the example of what can happen in a well executed Mike Macdonald scheme.
I agree with everything you just said there, and I think it lends to a brighter rest of the 2024 season. But what makes me really excited about the Seahawks is the future. Because if you look at the NFC West, you see the 49ers this season, they look old, they look injury depleted, right? They're not the same 49ers team. It looks like they're on the downslope. The Rams, very similar. They're older, they're more injury prone. Now, the Rams have some good young defenders, but Matt Stafford, he kind of feels like he's on his last legs. They've got a lot of injuries. They're not nearly the same Rams team that we've seen in years past. If you look at the NFC West, it looks like right now, and the standings are this way, right? It looks like a dogfight. Who's going to emerge? The Cardinals do some good things, the Seahawks do some good things, but the reality is who's going to be the force in this division going forward? And Mike Macdonald is positioning the Seahawks team to be that, right? You look at moving off a veteran like Dodson, turning to Tyrese Knight, who enters into this game as an over 80 tackling grade, phenomenal performance, 77.5 overall defensive grade, 10 total tackles according to ESPN. Fourth round pick out of UTEP, right? Going to a young guy. The Seahawks are in playoff contention and they're still going to a young guy. To me, that makes me think the Seahawks, Schneider, McDonald, everybody there is like, okay, we obviously want to win now. We're in the thick of it. We're trying to make a push to the playoffs, but we're building a title program here. We're trying to get back to when we were making runs to Super Bowls. And maybe Dodson or maybe some of these older guys, if you go for a veteran, maybe they give you a little bit better chance to get to 9 or 10 wins this season. Maybe Tyrese Knight maybe pointed it the other direction. But the reality is the roster, the way it was structured going into this game and going forward, isn't what it needs to be a Super Bowl contender. But if you let young guys like Knight get playing time and develop and become the future stars, suddenly, very quickly, the Seahawks team has the core to be an elite contender in the NFC. And I love Mike Macdonald's approach, understanding that while he's trying to win games now, putting his team in a good position to do that, also focusing on the future. The great coaches can do both. Andy Reid, both Harbaughs, Mike Tomlin, that's what they've always done. Bill Belichick did it for a while with the Patriots. They focus simultaneously on the present and the future, and we're seeing that with Mike Macdonald with this move here. Obviously, it paid huge dividends. I don't know the last time I've seen a team cut a player and they get so much better at that position overnight. Credit to him for player development and credit to John Schneider and his staff for recognizing the talent they had behind Dodson. I think going forward, the Seahawks team is proving themselves once again to be one of the smartest ran teams in football.